Hi kids, Anderson here, talking a little bit about Free Guy. Today's big sexy Hollywood pick is Free Guy, budgeted at $100 to $125 million. I like how they just kind of give them 100 million to 125 million, give or take, you know. Pretty loose there with the numbers, aren't you there, Free Guy? Hey, if you like this and you want to see more of these, every week I will do the biggest, sexiest Hollywood pick the day that it comes out. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Also, quick apologies about last week, especially to my friends over at because they were nice enough to send me a lav to play with, and it wasn't even plugged in last week. That is Bush League. That's what happens when you're doing like 9 things at once, which I was doing last week on Friday, not this week. So apologies, won't happen again. Free Guy. All right, here's what's going to happen when you go see Free Guy. If you are not familiar, here, quick little thumbnail sketch. It's about a video game, and Free Guy who wears a blue shirt, he lives in this it's like Grand Theft Auto type world where there's all sorts of characters and players, and he is not a player. He's just a computer generated non-player character NPC. And his whole point is to be there in the background and to get shot and killed, and he's a bank teller, and yet he can think for himself. He's just going through his life, and as most of us have seen the trailer at this point, I would imagine there is an 8.5-minute trailer, which I did not partake in. Why do we need an 8.5-minute trailer? Why would we ever need a truncated movie to that extent? Insane. So here are the movies that you won't help. It's impossible not to think of some of these movies while watching Free Guy. Not necessarily good nor bad. It's just what it is. Like this movie pulls from a whole lot of other movies as far as inspiration and as far as, wow, it's hot still. So here are some of the movies. Groundhog Day and every other time loop movie that came in after it. They Live is definitely, I don't know if this movie's different if They Live does not exist, as well as The Matrix. Of course, Wreck-It Ralph recently. Her. Last Action Hero, Ready Player One, Tron. I mean, you got to go way back to Tron, but of course there's some Tron on the way over here. And then I guess also Truman Show. Truman Show is another, Truman Show. And speaking of Truman Show, Ryan Reynolds, for the last few years, maybe forever, he's been kind of doing like a version of Jim Carrey with a little dash of Will Ferrell, especially in this movie when he's just like, hey, I'm happy. Also a little Lego movie. There's a little Lego movie in this movie, Free Guy. So he's doing this version of, I guess it's a Ryan Reynolds thing, but this movie and Ryan Reynolds to an extent are all borrowing. It's all one big mishmash of popular culture. And there's something that happened towards the end of this movie, which I won't give away, but I'll talk about my reaction. There will be opinions. So, did the movie deliver on what I expected? Yes, almost hit the mark exactly. Like, there are some funny moments. There are some laugh out loud funny moments. Taika Waititi is in here if you like his comedic stylings. So, of course, I'm getting a look from the wife right now. Get away from me, wife. You get away from me. You're gonna enjoy some of his stuff. Ryan Reynolds, if you're a Ryan Reynolds fan, I know there's a lot of you out there, he delivers. This is a Ryan Reynolds movie. What ends up happening, though, is where it surprises is some of the existential, higher grade concepts that they actually dare to get into with this movie. And, what does it mean to live? What does it mean to exist? Like, they get a little bit into religion, barely, but a little bit. And it has some of these nice big thoughts that, I was kind of hoping they'd go even a little bit deeper with, but they ended up pandering and kind of getting away from all that and giving the audience what the audience wanted. I saw it in a theater last night. I'd say it was about 2/3 full. Now, without giving anything away, there is something that happens towards the end in the climax scene, which was very well done and very funny. All sorts of CGI, as you'd imagine, with a $100 and $125 million movie. In fact, at the very end of the credits, they claimed that over 13,000 people were paid money for doing various jobs on this movie. That's a lot, 13,000 people. Towards the end, during the climax scene, there is something that happens with a leitmotif, an actual music from something else happens, and my God, was the theater delighted. Wow, did they enjoy themselves. And I felt very uncomfortable. I did not have the same joy that everyone else seemed to in the theater around me, and actually I physically shrunk down in my seat a little bit. And I can't say that I really enjoyed that feeling. While everyone else was, I felt like I was at a craps table and I was betting the do not pass, and everyone was winning and I was like losing, and I just, But, you know, that could just be the old man in me. I don't know. That could be just because I don't really love the trends and I don't really love the giant tent poles that surround movie theaters. Anyways, it does go to some places that were unexpected, and I applaud. I actually appreciated that. However, by the time it was all said and done, a little bit pandering. Now, one of the other things with this movie that struck me was, you know, it's a cross between the real world and this Avatar. Oh, Avatar is another movie that I thought of while watching this movie. You know, the avatars of the actual games, and real life players are like actually entering this world where a guy with his blue shirt lives, and he's you know, self-aware, and he doesn't realize that he's in a game, but they're making contact with him, and then we're going back and forth. And I got to tell you, for large chunks, I really liked what was happening in the real world more than the actual video game world, and I was hoping that they would spend a little more time out there. And there were some transitions and some realizations and epiphanies that took place that I had a hard time buying as far as the reaction of the characters would go. I think that might have used a little more time to give that arc and realization. But, you know, these are petty. For the most part, it's a dumb movie that has some really smart ideas, some fun ideas, and it's a fun movie. We could do way, way worse for a Hollywood movie that is a Ryan Reynolds vehicle, ultimately. A lot of eye candy. You also think a little Scott Pilgrim when you're watching this movie, because there's so much going on, so many things going on. And I think that since I am not a game player, a gamer as it were, I probably didn't appreciate it quite as much as a typical video game player would. Truth be told, I love video games. I just don't. I can no longer trust myself with them. Over 10 years ago, I had a problem, and I lost a number of months of my life to video games by playing them incessantly, all day. So I gave those up. But I did not give up movies. And what's fun about this as well, what's interesting to think about is movies as entertainment are getting their asses whooped by video games. The video game industry for over a decade now, I believe, has been just crushing. So, you know, way more people are spending money and time playing video games and with video games than they are with movies these days. Whereas, you know, back in the day, before the advent of game consoles, like, you know, movies were pretty much the only game in town. And it's the same old thing. You know, technology is going to continue to do this. TVs were the first real, movies put live stage shows, you know, on alert. So it is what it is. But video games have been having way more success than movies, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So when Hollywood makes a movie about a video game, yeah, there's going to be some. There's going to be some jabs here and there, and honestly, what I love so much more about movies than I do about video games is the storytelling ability. I know there's great stories with the video games. I know I'm not foolish. However, to be able to have this kind of satire and have this kind of commentary about the world and society and how we interact with technology would be done differently, let's say, in video games than it was in a movie like, as you know, popcorn of a movie as Free Guy was. I think that they can, with a movie and a script, you can get the message across more clearly than with a game. All in all, though, I would say this is a movie worth your time, movie worth a couple bucks, and it's going to be a good ride. And I would assume most people will like it more than this guy did, which I thought it was okay. Not super pumped to go see it anytime again soon, but you know, if I was in a room filled with people and they all wanted to rent a movie, which would be weird because that doesn't really ever happen anymore. But hey, if that was the case, I want to say, no, we're not renting that. Terrible. I'd say, yeah, I'll sit through that again, even though I don't really want to. Hey, thanks very much. Next week, another movie. Thanks for watching.